Where's Ashley said she was ready to go. Hello, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome in. We just got started. We're still waiting for Ashley.
Which is funny because she's the one who's always like, let's go!
Let's go.
Fucking.
I do have I have this clip. I posted it. I should send it to y'all again. Um, Jesus. Uh, it was the
Yeah.
same thing. It was just like Ashley's. Yeah, Mrs. I'm on time is the on time on in the room with a.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Is the on time in the room with us? That is a good one. That's funny. Yeah, we talked about, it's Valentine's Day, so our theme for the live should be ships. And this is my current obsession. And I
Isn't
need
that
to.
always your obsession?
Huh?
Isn't
Oh,
that always your
Artist right
obsession?
there. My newest obsession. What now? Sorry.
No, isn't that always your obsession?
No, I was only recently introduced to this.
I assumedly. Excuse me.
I mean, you know me. I've been a snowstorm girly, which I still think is like this is my crack ship. I think snowstorm is what will actually happen.
I see now. I was looking at it wrong. I thought that was snowstorm. Now I see what it is.
Oh no. No, no. I like that it's age appropriate. I mean, snowstorm is too.
Oh, now you're gonna start some fights.
Oh, right, because there's like it's weird. It's genuinely very strange to me that people genuinely are into Danny and Drogo. That's very odd to me. What's the ships,
Yeah,
Louis?
people
This
are.
is Daenerys and one of her blood riders, Yogo. He's the one who, of her blood riders, is like they're not particularly well developed characters, which is why it's like fun to project this kind of stuff on them. But I would say that he has the most endearing interactions with Danny her of her what am I trying to say? Blood riders.
Every blood rebels.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's also it became a controversial subject on X, the Everything app, formerly known as Twitter. Um, because apparently it's just when you say some stuff like it's more age appropriate, uh, people who like Danny and Drogo think you're calling them out for being weird.
It is weird. And I am
Which,
going
yeah,
to call you
some
out.
people are, yeah. And I'll be honest, it is a little weird because it's not it's not a cool thing, but it's whatever. There's been a whole that's a whole other topic of like something that's been banging around book talk right now. One video like made book talk like kind of implode on itself. Um, anyways, but yeah,
What was it?
Danny and
Go on. I've been gone. I don't know anything that's been happening on Book
hold
Talk.
on.
I think that like the conversation around Danny and Drogo is always wrong
So,
because
like, continue.
what you like about her relationship with Drogo is the proximity to power it gives her, and even that is only he could take that away from her on a whim. Like
Hmm.
the only thing that I find uh, compelling about their relationship is how she is able to use him. And I don't think it's like, oh God, don't quote me on that because I have actually seen people talk about how Danny is bad because she uses sex to manipulate Drogo. And I'm like, we are talking about a 13-year-old child and a 30-year-old man. I like can't even have this conversation, to be honest
That
with
is a weird conversation to have. But yeah,
you. Yeah, that was like
this
early on in TikTok. That was one of the first videos that I had seen. And I was like, this cannot stand. I must
so
speak.
this book talk implodes thing was so there was a YouTuber. I've told y'all about this probably in the group chat. Um, there was a YouTuber, I think their name is Chris, and she made a video that was essentially like taking the piss out of like the six most popular romance slash like smut slash book talk books. So like
Mm-hmm.
there's some of the there's like a hockey one that's really famous. Um
Okay.
forget what it's called, but it's anyways. And she just like goes through like some of the things that she finds like weird and the edgier, more extreme parts of the genre.
So
And
like, is it like a dark fantasy, like romantasy, like that kind of thing, like dark romance, or just like
it's more like it's not like dark romance. What is it? What is it? It's more like trauma type stuff.
trauma? Okay, got it.
So
Interesting.
like so like um questionable like relationships such as Danny Drogo type stuff. Questionable things of like consent and things like that.
Yeah.
And it was a very playful video that had the kind of tone of like y'all should like seek
Unpack
therapy or
this.
touch
Talk
grass
about
or
it. Yeah.
something,
Yeah.
especially if you're obsessed with it. Oh, I see Ashley, so we're getting her in here.
Finally.
And then essentially, everybody saw that video and
Hello.
felt everybody saw that video and felt called out by it, and just started attacking it, and it
Losing
became
their
just this
minds.
whole thing about like and it was just a weird, like, it was weird for me because personally, like, I was seeing like some accounts that I've seen that specifically think that people who like A Song of Ice and Fire are like secretly like rapists
Oh, I've
or
seen that
PDF
has been
files or
really
stuff like
popular
that.
lately. Maybe this is
And
why what you're
but
talking
that
about.
yeah, but they want that to be the case, even though like um all the the spicy scene, all the sex scenes in A Song of Ice and Fire are not meant to be titillating. They do come off weird,
I
but
feel
a
like they're
lot of times
supposed
they're
to.
supposed to be weird.
Yeah.
And but then on top of that, it's like it's different than like these books where like that is the main focus. And
Or it's
it's
like
just
a kink in the book. Like
yeah.
it's meant these things are meant to be unpacked and deconstructed. And that's not to say that like George is perfect. He is still just a white guy. Like a cis
And
het, well,
old.
no. But like, you know, he he's doing better than a lot of, I mean the bar is in hell, I admit.
Especially with like what just came out by a very popular the Neil I don't know how to, I'm not gonna worry
Yeah,
about
Neil
saying his
Gaiman.
name, Neil Gaiman.
Yeah,
I don't know how to say his name. Um,
I was on
he,
game.
yeah, that story was insane. But anyways, it was just kind of nuts seeing a lot of that being dredged up again because like some people just felt called out because they felt, and then it gets into like this whole. Sorry, what I was tying this to was like the a similar vein of what like the Danny Drogo people are doing is like the thing they say is like, well, you can't say anything about it because it's about me working through my trauma, and like
You're gonna do that with Drogo too?
you can't have an opinion on and say it's weird or I need to go to therapy or whatnot because that's like ableist or something somehow.
Oh, good Lord. Oh,
Like it's that kind of like, and it's meanwhile it's like Danny and Jogo shippers are just like existing.
we're just having a good time over here. Like, sorry that it's literally just her titty right there. It cut off their heads, but
Oops.
oopsies. I love this art. I and it cut off the artist too. I think it's like Collie. I'll have to look at it.
But I found one post of a Danny Drogo shipper that was really a hater, and it was like it was a screen cap of AO3, and it was Danny Jogo, and there was like two, and it was like straight up, who even likes this? This is a made up ship. I don't even care who the hell these people think they are.
I'll tell you who. I'll tell you who. He put his hand around her waist and was like, "Then see you must," or whatever. About. I mean, there are like you can find them, and there are crazier ships out there.
But it's fan fiction. Who isn't this the
Exactly.
point? They're like it's a made up ship. Whatever.
And it's not even that crazy. Like it's really not that it's not crazy.
It
Like
doesn't sound too
he's
crazy. I'm not into
inappropriate.
this.
He's with her all the time. He does a lot of like really beneficial things for her and her people. Like he's one of her like right hand right hand fellas. And he's like one of the more decent ones because we don't really know much about him. So we can be like
Yeah, you
he's a nice
exactly.
guy.
No, exactly. It's the same. It's the same thing for Jon Snow. Like when you make him empty, you can just have the audience fill in whatever they want.
Yep.
That's
That's
important.
Show John right there, man. Self
But
insert for.
that's
I like this, like characters from different eras. Do you think would be good ships? Yeah, yes. He's the first to kneel in front of her
okay.
and say, "Blood of my blood." And I mean, it's just lots of things. He's the one. He's the third one to come back, and he brings Pyat Pri, Zaro, and Quaithe. You know, he's the one that's successful and brings people back. And like, there are plenty of Tumblr posts about this.
Cersei and Aryan.
I feel like
That's a interesting
they're too similar,
pair
aren't they?
together. Huh. Well,
They're
that's
gonna
the thing. This is
burn the whole
always,
world down.
you know what? I just thought of something. It's like this is always something that I think is missing from these kinds of discussions is when because these characters change a lot. So Cersei when? Because we have Cersei at various times of her life,
That's a good
you know?
point.
So it's
That's a really
like
good point.
Cersei when she's about to marry Robert, Cersei I feel like Cersei
How cynical
nowadays
is she? Is
I
really
don't. Yeah,
great.
I don't know. I don't know if she would jive with Arian. You know, maybe early on, I think she would be into a guy like Arian, especially.
Yes.
But he's not the crown prince as well, so like she would be gunning for Valor or Valar. Excuse
Is
me.
it really quickly? Am I remembering it correctly that when Rhaegar plays the harp, Cersei like makes a big spectacle, like she cries? Like,
I
am I
don't
making
remember
this up?
that,
I
but
can't. Okay, okay.
I'll
I
be
read
honest.
so much.
I ignore Tourney of Harrenhal, Rhaegar, Ned, Robert. I kind of ignore that because the fandom kind of shoves it at me all the time. So I lose details about that sometimes.
Yeah, for real.
But
And I
what
just
is
read a lot of like I don't read fan fiction, but because I spend a lot of time on Tumblr, I kind of do. I get like clips, like
oh
ideas of it. I just recently since I left TikTok, like I'd been having a great time over on Tumblr. I had only been encountering like this very Danny friendly side of Tumblr, and because I posted my Jahara and Morgul locket over on Tumblr, I ended up you see where I ended up? And so I've been seeing uh lots of lots of weird ideas over there on Team Green fucking Tumblr.
no. Oh no. Okay, I get it now. No. That's weird. Okay.
Right, because Jahara.
No. Because of Jahara, yeah.
Yeah.
Um no, there's interesting things on the internet. Uh
Who's Ashley? Ashley, are you here?
is Ashley here? She's been mute this whole
This
time.
is the most quiet I've ever heard you.
I am here. Hold on. I have to go to a quiet place. My daughters and I just got back from Hollywood Studios. We went to Valentine's
Oh, hell yeah.
and met the
Oh,
villains. The
nice.
villains were at Hollywood Studios for 2 days. So I was like, I'm not missing this. I'm
That's awesome.
going.
I love that. I love that for you and for the girls, and I'm kind of jealous.
Yeah. So like we got to meet Cruella and do the whole thing.
Oh, that's why you had your Cruella shirt on. That tracks.
Yes. My
Okay, that
whole
makes
my whole
sense.
vibe.
You
So
always have
I'm
a
getting set
theme.
up right now. I'm fixing to turn the camera on. But
Okay,
Although,
I feel like Ashley, I want your opinion on Cersei and Aryan Brightflame as like a ship. Eric had a
yes.
good point
oh
though.
my
Like,
god, I love that ship. That's like
See, anybody
I
can
need the
have fun
fan
with those
fiction
characters,
now.
but like that's fan fiction.
yeah,
Pure fan fiction, I think, because it's like I
bullshit.
when I really think about the characters and stuff, I don't like I would Cersei go for Aerion because Aerion is never the crown prince. She'd be after Valar.
True.
Uh,
Oh, for sure.
So
I
it's
mean, and
But
then
like
she'd be like, not.
But it would be a shame because
Because that's what
Arian
we
would
always,
definitely be more her vibe.
because that's what we feel, right? It's like she's like Robert in that she's projected what she wants out of Rhaegar onto him, and then she never had to find out,
Yeah,
right?
it's really easy to romanticize a fucking dead man.
Yeah,
The
so
dead
it's
man
just
can't
like
do no wrong. Like,
Rhaegar could have been anybody, I think. So
right.
I just like thinking about that. But then, like, would she go for Arian um in her current state at the end of Dance?
No,
I don't
I
know.
feel like it would have to be a younger Cersei. That's what I mean
Hmm.
by like how like how cynical and unhinged is she?
Yeah,
And
if we're going for, and sorry guys, like I have my Cruella makeup on too. Like I went
I
all
love
out. I
it.
was I was very dedicated to the fit today. I had the ears on and like I was serious. But I think if
Hey,
we're
what's up,
talking
Phil?
younger Cersei, people don't often think about what a romantic young Cersei was. Young Cersei was in love with Rhaegar. Like, not just because he was the king, but also, like, yeah, maybe at first when she was a kid, she kind of was like, oh, I'm going to marry the prince. But, like, when she met him and he was so beautiful, I think that was when she was, like, in love with him. That's when she ditched all ideas of Jamie.
That's true. She did go through a period where she was like, "Fuck my
Okay,
brother."
yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
like
good
she was
idea.
like, "Fuck
You're right.
Jamie,
Yeah.
I am in love with him." And to be fair, Aerion Brightflame is described as the most beautiful of Targaryens, like heartbreakingly beautiful, which is the reason why him being so terrible, like it's conflicting. And you know that a lot of the fan base is going to be like, "Oh my god, I can fix him." Like even though he's over there breaking a woman's hand and being an absolute monster, people are going to say, "Oh, I can fix him." And I think that Cersei would have been captivated.
I know we didn't put anything in text. I should have probably put it in the about me, but yeah, we are always all spoilers. So apologize to anybody
I
who
mean,
wanders into here.
think about
Um,
think
Oh, I
about
guess those
Cersei.
kinds of
because we
things
are
are
talking about a show that's coming out
coming out.
in next or later this year, actually. So
Think
we
about
gotta.
Cersei and Oraine Waters. I mean, she's kind of
Hmm.
until she gets over it, she does go through kind of a crushing phase with him, and he's a nobody. So he's just a Valarian bastard.
And I mean
But she's in love
dress,
with him for like a period.
the dress she wears for Robert's funeral. Like, come on. She's,
Yeah.
I mean, she's I don't know. Is Cersei
Oh right,
capable of
yeah.
love, or is she only capable of obsession?
I think Cersei is capable of as much as Robert is capable. I think she is infatuated.
Yeah, I wouldn't say
Yes.
Robert's capable of love.
No, I think
Loving
she
someone truly, like,
I think Cersei,
Well,
like Cersei's biggest issue is that she and Robert are so much alike that it's painful. Like the two of them, the reason why they can't be around one another is because they're just like the other. Like very, very similar people. Very
I
selfish
mean,
people, very self-centered people, very self-serving. Um,
hedonistic. Yeah, they're both really hedonistic.
Robert's.
always looking to impress people who are no longer there. Um, there's always this sense of inadequacy. I think that they both feel.
Robin Marjorie,
Everybody,
yeah.
everybody wants Rob and Marjorie to get together.
I think
No,
we're
okay,
literally
okay.
politically.
Controversial ship. Rob and Danny.
That's not
Rob and
controversial.
Danny.
That's a great
That's
They
one.
not
were.
controversial. That's a pretty
Listen.
popular one. I've seen that one
They
around.
they were, well, I mean, I say controversial because everybody wants Rob and Marjorie, but Rob and Daenerys, that was my dream. Especially when she sees him in the House of the Undying and he looks over at her with like that sad look in his eye. Like it's almost like you're thinking that he's looking at what could have been with sorrow. And I'm just like, God damn it, George. Like send me into depression.
Yeah, it's mute appeal. He looks at her with mute appeal. And I remember that because then when the Red Wedding actually happens, that's what Catelyn says Rhaegar looks at her with. Rhaegar, the Joker that she kills, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So like I love that tie-in, like You'd Appeal. I love when George does that. He like ties two scenes together with the same turn of phrase.
So sad. Let's see. Always reminiscing on what could have been. Exactly. I honestly think that Marjorie and young Griff have more of a chance of getting together. I think the likelihood of that happening is actually pretty high.
Oh yeah, Kat would have hated Brandon 100%.
Oh yeah. I had made that video recently about, like Brandon and Ned and who was the father of the supposedly, younger Dane's sister, Ilaria Dane. And Illyria, that's how you pronounce it. And now I'm leaning more towards it being Brandon and Ashara and not Ned and Ashara. Somehow I don't think Ned and Ashara ever got together. I think that's too popular of a ship. I think it's too obvious. I really think it was probably Brandon and Ashara.
That's the theory I accept, is that Brandon. Well, my thing is that Brandon and Ashara made John, and that happened in the when Brandon was locked up
I really do.
under the
I really
castle.
do think R plus L equals J. I think that that's canon, but I don't think it matters in the way that Snowboys think that it matters, because at the end of the day, John's still a bastard. And that's the entire point of his story. And also the point of his story is the fact that he's a Stark. Like, he's not a dragon seed, he's not a Targaryen, he's not a Blackfire, he's a Stark. And
Jojen and Ashara? No. What?
No,
But
like Jojen
no,
is
I think it
Ashara's
was-
son.
Huh, okay.
I think it's Ashara and Brandon.
So it's still
Illyria
Brandon.
Dane.
B plus A equals J still.
Right? Like, or do you mean Howland and Ashara? I'm getting confused. You don't mean Jojen and Ashara as a ship, right?
That's unhinged.
Okay, Howland. Yeah, okay, got it.
Oh, God.
I'm over here like doing mental gymnastics. I'm like, no. They mean that Jojen is Ashara's son. I've never heard that one, but sure. No, it's okay. Don't be sorry. That's totally
I've never heard Howland
Really?
and Ashara.
I have. That's like, I wouldn't call it popular, but, and again, this is Tumblr. It's a different world over on Tumblr. Because someone else I saw mentioned Roose and Catelyn, which is one that I've seen on Tumblr a few times. There's some fan art of
Okay, that's fun.
Roose and
That's
Catelyn.
interesting.
Okay. Moonmaids. Now I have to know, what's your controversial ship?
Oh yeah.
I need to hear it.
Bullied specifically on Tumblr. See, it's a different world over there. It's insane in the best way possible. Agreed. I see some unhinged shit, but even the unhinged shit on Tumblr is more tolerable than like the unhinged shit on
Damon voice. Say it.
Say it. Show Johnza. Yeah, I know you get bullied. I bet you do.
Nope. I don't know what that is.
I mean, I will say that like, if you have a gun to my head, like show Johnza, I get the like there was definitely more chemistry in my opinion between Kit and Sophie than between Kit and Amelia. And so like in that way, I've seen some edits about Show John and Sansa where I've been like, okay, but like it's not for me. But I'm not gonna bully you for. I'm not gonna yuck you.
No.
Yeah, see, I feel like it was the chemistry of the actors, because that can really like make or break a thing. I've been rewatching The Walking Dead, and Michonne and Rick do not fucking work for me at all. They have no fucking chemistry. It just does not work. And I like Googled it because I was like, am I alone in this? Which I'm not. And it goes on forever, and it was pretty unbearable. When there's no chemistry between actors, it's
I quit The Walking Dead very early on.
Yeah, I had to quit. When I noticed that the storyline kept repeating itself, I was like, nah, I'm good.
Well, I mean, like, it's the fucking zombie apocalypse. Like, how many, you know what I mean? Like, you build up a thing, and you have a thing, and then someone wants to come and take your thing. And so, yeah, it just repeats itself. But I was determined this time. I wanted to get to the whispers because I'd never gotten that far, but I'd seen shit on like fucking TikTok and Tumblr, and they seemed scary. And so I had to like, I kept every time a new villain was introduced, I was like, it's the whispers. No.
Okay.
Oh God.
Hold on. Phil brings up something.
Phil
He said, hold on.
bringing it in with Ned and Cersei.
Yeah, Ned and Cersei
God.
chemistry. I was going to bring this up earlier when we were talking about how Cersei mirrors Robert, because Robert definitely knew love, even if he didn't know exactly what it was, because he loved Ned. So I'm like, Cersei and Robert are kind of like each other. Cersei and Ned. Similar kind of love.
Is it just me, or is Cersei doomed
Maybe more
to
sassy.
forever be? Cersei's always doomed to be in somebody else's love triangle. Like, she's always involved in somebody who's already got somebody else. I mean, heck, I think Rhaegar had more like a love square because he had a lot of things going on. I'm pretty sure he had a thing with Arthur Dayne. Obviously, we know Lyanna. And then possibly like Cersei, like I don't think that was mutual. I think that was more, her thing. God, man. And then he had Elia. Like Rhaegar was busy.
I'm reading through all these.
Yes, Cersei thinking Ned wanting her was funny. Yeah. Cersei
Cersei everyone wants her. To be fair, everybody wants Cersei.
Well, I love when in the book when Cersei has like kind of an unhinged thought that you have to like think around, because it's like, hey, wait a minute. Like it's when she's it's when I forget which chapter it is, but it's when Kevin is like giving her his spiel of like what she should do, and it's exactly what she doesn't want to do and exactly what she doesn't want to hear. And her first thought is like, how much are the Tyrells paying you to betray your family? And it's like, Cersei, come on, it's Kevin you're talking about.
Okay, so are we talking about Ned and Cersei in the books or in the show? Because then Phil says their exchange in the garden in the show is charged, and I agree with that, because when this conversation started, that was immediately what I thought of. I thought of fucking, what's his name, Sean Bean being like, your brother or your lover, and it's just like, I don't know why I said it like that, I can't do accents, but yeah, I like immediately thought of it, and yeah. It was charged. Again, actors. I feel like it's the actors, right? Because like I did not feel like they had any particular chemistry in the books.
No, but I think Cersei thinks she has chemistry with everybody. Because again,
show specific.
No, that's funny.
Book Cersei's like, everybody wants me. So
yeah, and that's that was one thing I was gonna say about the show Jon and Sansa shipper thing, is like, I feel like people get like really judgmental of stuff like that when it's like, it's way more about just finding the actors hot and cool, and they have chemistry with each other. So it's like, can we just all admit that we're all trying to have fun here at least, and not get so judgmental? Because this is also like why like people who are Team Green need to calm their fucking shit down, because good God. Like, you just like Aegon because you like Tom. Admit it.
For real. Like, shut up. It's because Tom's a cutie pie. Like, just
yeah.
And a good actor.
Hold on. Fan art of a ship will change your mind so fast. It's so fucking true.
That's
like,
true, yeah.
And I gotta sing some praises. Just the fucking artists, the fan art artists in this fandom, unbelievable.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, that's seriously the best part about being on Tumblr is... that's like where all the art is, like all of it, and it's easy to find who the artist is. It's like so fucking hard anywhere else to find the artists, but it's coming from them on Tumblr. So if you like fan art, get a Tumblr or else.
Just
Cersei and Ned with kids. Okay.
No.
Eric is drawn the line. He says absolutely not. No.
Okay, this was kind of a hard one that Juan gave us, was who would we ship Melisandre with?
Oh yeah, that's a good one to go back to. What is it? Yeah.
Like thinking about that. God, man, that's hard.
Excuse me, nobody. Nobody. She, literally nobody though.
Daenerys.
Okay, like,
but she's old.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, Mel does seem really into Jon, But she's old.
That's what I mean. Like, she's like a old fucking wizard. Like, just leave her alone. She has other things to do. She's a busy
like,
lady.
God, man.
Roll lore. That's who
Yeah, I
I
was
ship.
about to
I
say,
ship
lore. There you
Melisandre
go.
with Lady Stoneheart.
Flames.
Like,
Cersei? Who do I actually ship Cersei with?
everybody.
Okay,
And I'm gonna go with
Blood
an
Raven.
answer. I'm gonna go with the answer that Cersei
No,
would
sorry.
want me
I was
to
still
give.
thinking about. Melisandre.
Cersei would want me to say everybody. Everybody wants her, so ship her with everyone.
Oh, yeah, okay. I gotcha. Melisandre and Bloodraven is what you're saying, because that's what Juan is saying, too. I mean, okay. Fine.
I can see it.
I was just saying they're both old.
No, hold on. I can't see Bloodraven with anybody else. I can see Shiera Seastar. I can see Shiera with a ton of people.
Yes.
A ton of people.
Not him.
I can't see Bloodraven with anyone else but Shiera.
He's part of a rebound. He's trying to make her jealous. Just let him cook.
Let him cook. Leave him alone. Shiera hurt his feelings for the 18,000th time.
He's gonna come around. Trust me, it's not gonna work out, and he's gonna come crawling back. You know it.
Oh my God, Maester Aemon and Old Nan. Yes. Get it.
Okay, here we go. Cross. All right, here's the cursed. You just gave me cursed crossed eras. Old Nan and young Aemon.
Ooh.
Good golly.
What? What's happening?
I'm trying to understand. Wait, what? What do you mean?
No, I'm saying like Aemon during the Dunk and Egg years with Old Nan from Game of Thrones years.
Good God.
That's messed up.
Look, I'm saying when he's like 20, you know?
And this
He's
is like
so
cursed.
young.
This is supposed to be a cursed ship.
Yeah. And it's like somehow that matched up. You know, he was on his way to the wall, so he crossed through Winterfell. And he met up with Old Nan, who came through a time rift because of time traveling Bran. Sorry, this is I'm writing a thing now.
Weaving these webs.
See, everybody's I'm seeing all the Ned and Cersei comments, and we're not seeing any more of Ned and Robert. Like, that's my ship.
Okay,
That's
speaking
true.
of fan art that'll change your mind really quick, I saw
Ned.
I saw one
and
that
Robert,
was-
I'm
that was-
sorry.
that was Robert pegging Rhaegar, and I was like, yeah, I think that would have saved the realm a lot of
I feel like it would have, man. I feel like it would have. Like, I feel like if Robert truly admitted that the reason why he was so mad is because Rhaegar stole their beard, and like that's what he was mad about. He was like, damn it, man, you stole my cover. I was supposed to marry her, and that way I could be in love with Ned behind the scenes.
Joffrey Lonmouth and Kristen Cole.
Okay.
That's
Shiera and Melisandre, Quaithe and Melisandre.
mm-hmm.
Right? Fire shadow mage.
Joffrey, oh my god.
Yeah, I was gonna be
Kristen
like,
Cole, that's diabolical, Phil.
pretty diabolical.
Simon Strong and Olenna. I love that. I do love that.
I actually do love that. That would be
Okay,
that
yeah.
would be funny.
Because he could handle it. Like
He could.
He could
Those
handle
would be
the
the-
thorns.
Those
I
would be
think.
the grandparents you'd want to go visit.
Yeah,
Ned
for sure.
and Jamie. Ned and Jamie. Why is Ned getting paired with everybody else but Robert? Ned and Robert are my to die for ship. I will die
Well,
on
it's
this
because
hill.
it's canon. That's
It's
why.
low hanging fruit. Yeah, like
Because it's
that one's
canon.
like,
You
yeah,
can't
it's a
like
given.
that's not where people.
Okay. Ned, Robert, and Rhaegar. Throuple. Go.
I don't think Ned would be into a throuple. I'm going to be honest with you.
No.
I just can't see it for him. I think that Robert and Rhaegar could. Which, okay.
Robert Rhaegar, Lyanna.
But then I'm like, Lyanna's a baby, so that also freaks me out.
No, I think
it's so hard. They're all gross, and so
Look, it's fan shit. Everybody's magically in a go.
Lyanna is the beard. I'm sorry. She's the beard in that situation. She's the cover.
Cersei and Qyburn, yeah, for sure.
Look, you can undo the age problems that George set up. So
With time traveling Bran.
No, you can just do it because like he didn't want to do that in the first place. It's fan fiction too, so whatever. Like, Leanna's 20 now.
Ooh,
Whatever.
I like the idea of Rob and Ariane Martell. Like, I like it. I like it.
Song of Ice and Spice.
Ice and Spice. Isn't that?
That's a good one.
No, that's a podcast. I was like, wait, why have I heard that before? That's because that's Ronnie's podcast. It's Ronnie and Spice. Okay, anyway.
Rob and Ariane Martell.
Okay, who is
That would be funny. I like that one. That's a funny one.
I think my favorite canon ship, and I don't think there are many because most of the A Song of Ice and Fire ships are trash, but I think it has to be Rohan and Dunk. Like, that is my favorite ship.
No comment.
Like, yeah, no comment. Yeah, no comment.
No comment yet.
All right.
You
watching the show
like,
first.
you
I'm
would
so
understand. Listen, you are a crier, so I know you will appreciate it. It is a tragic romance where by the end of it, you're like,
you are a crier.
Your life is ruined by the end because
Ashley
you
and I
liked
have been crying
Manacled.
for 2 days.
You liked Manacled. I know you like to hurt yourself because you liked Manacled. And I like to hurt myself too. So, like, this is one of those romances that's going to hurt you.
It hurts so good, though. You know, my brain is still going back to fucking Roose and Catelyn. I'm like, really? Because the art that I saw was of their wedding, and it was just a good fan.
It's always the art.
Yeah, for real. That was a comment. Like,
fan art will definitely make you change your mind.
I did see this was that people were
exactly
kind of discussing this on Twitter. That was like, how did this bag this? And it was like Aegon the Fourth with anybody. So it's like, yeah, like what was going on there? There had to have been something.
He was king. It's like fucking Henry Tudor when he has like this wound in his leg and he stinks and he's like 500 pounds, like doesn't take care of himself, doesn't bathe, but he's still fucking married 6 times because he was king and he could. I feel like Aegon the Fourth is like very clearly like a nod to like later life.
Oh, it's very obvious.
Yeah, like.
But I mean, like he was like, I mean, he wasn't. That was later in his life, you know.
And Henry
he was
VIII,
king before that.
It was at least 3 of his wives. Half of his wives.
Right?
And Henry VIII did legitimize at least one of his bastards.
Well, it depends on what time frame. Because are you talking about Mary, or are you talking about Elizabeth, or are you talking about that boy that he had for a minute?
The boy that he had for a minute who died.
Yeah. Show
That's the one he legitimized.
Okay, if we're talking about the show, do I even? Sansa and Theon does it for me in the really sad way, but but then not really. It's not like a sexual ship, but it is more than like friends. It's just like a very deep intimacy ship. And it's how I feel.
In the books,
it's how I feel about Jane and Theon.
Yeah, I would say that Jane and Theon, if I had to like ship any sort of future between the two of them, it's because Jane has too much trauma.
It would just be because he's a safe place for her.
Yeah,
and it's like,
I would honestly think if they had a future together, if both of them don't end up dead because of, the long night, if they both survived it, I would think that they would cling to one another just because of their mutual, like what they went through together.
Yeah, and I think because Jane and in the show Sansa were so like traumatized, especially sexually, like weird ass sexual abuse, being with someone who like that's not gonna be a problem. Like there's a certain level of like safety that these girls wouldn't be able to get with a lot of other men that you want to ship them with. I mean, because then there's also like shipping them with women, which is a whole other thing.
Lady Dark Sister,
hardcore with Marjorie. I think that there's chemistry there, both in the books and in the show.
Lady Dark Sister, once again, they're not mentioning canon ships. So John and Satin, that's why they don't get brought up.
Yeah, we're not even bringing that up because that is what is.
I am in love with John and Satin, and I will talk about them all day long. But yes, this is not canon.
Oh, good ship is fucking Sarah Snow, but that's the drag name for Cregan Stark.
Yes.
That's a funny one.
Well, that one to me is also canon. It's just nobody's officially confirmed it yet.
Once again, just age everybody up.
Yeah.
Seriously. I will always bring this up. That's funny.
And okay, so I will say that Show Sansa and Podrick, I think maybe I did say this. I do like that one. And again, it's like he has a softness that you don't see in a lot of the male characters on the show or in the books for that matter. Because that's all I would want from a ship for like Show Sansa and book Sansa who are very traumatized. Is just that there'd be like, you know, tenderness and genuine love and all that shit.
I actually do not think that Jane Poole will die. I think that Theon will, possibly.
Aegon 2 and Cersei.
It's kind of hard to say, but I do think that Jane Poole will live. For some reason, I do.
I feel like there's a universe where Aegon 2 and Cersei are like party girls together.
I feel like that could work.
Like sad girls in the club.
Yeah. Treated them like people, yes. Oh my God.
That was a popular theory.
Like, those people treated.
That was a popular theory when the show
was so nice to them.
Was that he sang for them.
I love that one.
Like he just hung out with them and sang for them, and then that was
That is genuinely the highlight for me, and there's only it in that final season was him singing Jenny of Old Stones. Like, I do love that, and I do think about that scene.
Jason Sansa could work. Could work.
Yeah, okay.
I could see that.
He's a respectful young man.
I was gonna say I could see Jace with just about anybody because
I do like Jason Bela though. I like that.
That's my favorite ship of all time will always be Jace, Bela, and Cregan. Like Bela has 2 boyfriends and her boyfriends are boyfriends, and
sometimes Cregan dresses up as Sarah Snow.
Yeah. Just
for fun and to keep it spicy. Hire us, we will write your smutty fan fiction. Just kidding.
Like,
we won't.
Wait, which Daemon are we talking about? Because I feel like Daemon Blackfyre and Cersei would not, But Daemon Targaryen would probably smash.
Daemon and Cersei, yeah. Yeah.
Daemon would smash.
I mean, especially if they were like, you know, I mean, I think at any age interval, because once again, we've known these characters for so many times of their lives. The Rogue Prince, of course.
Any age interval, Daemon would be into it.
Who's a good ship for Missaria?
Ooh.
Or show. Ooh, what about Missaria, like the White Worm from the book, and Tana of the Tower?
Ooh. I really like that.
I want to do that.
The White Worm and Melisandre.
Yeah, okay, but I like what I just said.
Melisandre, hold on. Melisandre and a young Maggie the Frog. Because remember, young Maggie was supposedly very beautiful. So,
gosh, I'm so excited to make that locket. Although, okay, I did mention this.
Okay, I need to know what is the verdict on the frog hands. Because I feel like if they're inside the locket, it's not going to stink.
I don't know, because like sometimes when you use like floral, like strong scented florals, you can smell it in the locket, and I mean they're pricey. They're freeze dried, like freeze dried frog feet. So we'll see. I'm gonna air them out and see if that helps. It's not like super pungent, but like I would hate for it to be noticeable on you.
What's well, it's Florida too. I don't know.
Oh god.
Yeah, I feel like that humidity is not good.
Wait, what is this? What is this locket? What is this for?
Maggie the Frog.
Maggie the Frog. Okay, gotcha.
Maggie the Frog.
I ordered Maggie the Frog and Miri Mazdor.
Yeah, I'm so excited. And
then my next one is going to be Ghost of High Heart.
Oh, yeah, see, these are I'm really hoping that people are going to connect with that list I posted of like my dream, which I don't know if you guys noticed, but I took off the ones that you guys already picked? Because those were all.
Well, my goal is to get all of the witches either accused or actual witches of A Song of Ice and Fire. So I want like Nymeria, I want Ghost of High Heart, like all of
You're
the
gonna have
witches.
like 45 lockets before you're done.
Yes. I mean, in all honesty, yeah, I'm running out of space. I'm gonna need another selenite plate.
I love that you do that. And then I love how you were like, oh wait, I don't have to charge this one because it's made out of selenite.
Yeah.
Eric,
And then I like
Eric,
organize them because I'm like, okay, I feel like Lilith would like these and Hecate would like these. And so I like go by
vibe
aspects of each character that I think a goddess would like.
Torby's trying to break things over there. Stop. He's really full of it today. I sent you guys so many pictures because
Maegor the Cruel and Robert Baratheon.
Yes! Yes! I love it.
Thank you, Juan.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I feel like it'd be hot. I would watch.
I would watch. Well, yeah.
That's a hard one, huh? Dunk's Trial of the Seven.
Is this this is just you being like, haha, Chelsea doesn't even know what that means.
But if she would read it.
I can't even think of what. Okay, there's the people that are in it. I guess you could do that. I'm just trying to even think of like what would you even do for that?
I mean, I have turned some pretty crazy ideas into lockets. Like
you can do it.
I'll be honest, the only thing I think about that scene, I think about mud. And you'll know
I can make mud pretty. I can do mud. Honestly,
hold on. This is really good. Which deity of our world would A Song of Ice and Fire, which is, I don't say like worship, I would say work with or channel, but yeah, I get it.
That would be a fun like series to do.
I like that.
Like who said that? That's a really, really fun idea. Oh, of course. Yes, of course.
Yeah. Like that's one that I really want to think about now because yeah.
No, that's a really cool. I love that. I'm gonna think about that. And that would be like, because I've been trying to like be better about like, oh, this content is better served for, I'm so sorry if you can hear my cat in the litter box right now. This would be better served as content on TikTok versus YouTube, and I feel like this would be a great thing that is TikTok friendly. People would like this on TikTok. Like,
I feel like the simpler and more fun the content, it's more for TikTok.
Yeah.
TikTok does not like our deep lore content at all.
Which, by the way, recording that shit for a YouTube format is so much harder than I ever fucking imagined possible. I have been working on the same 3 fucking videos for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Every week I'm like, Eric, this is the week I'm gonna do it. And then he'll be like, did you record anything? And I'm like, I got a 2-minute intro. What? This is hard.
Making videos is like...
See, like, I've told
hard.
her this. Kayla, I have said this to her about listening to the Dunkin' Egg series, and she refuses because
I don't refuse. Okay, that is an exaggeration. I do not refuse. I tried, but I can't hear what he's saying because of his voice. Like, I can't, I just get lost in the voice and then realize I'm like, what did you say? What was that? Can you say that again? And then it's 3 pages later and I'm like, I don't know what happened, but that was
He
fun.
admits it. She refuses.
She refuses. She refuses.
Twilby, get down.
I have to believe at this point it's just to spite me. Like,
no. At this point, it's because we're so close to the show. We're so close to the show coming out, and I've told you this a million times. This is my opportunity to enjoy a television adaptation because I haven't read the book yet.
We're shipping Chelsea and Harry Lloyd now.
yes.
Oh, you stop it. You hate. That's just too much. But thank you.
It's a little too much.
Oh my gosh, obsessed with the connection between the Faith of the Seven and the Church of Starry Wisdom. Oh.
I was like, speaking of the videos that you're working on.
Yeah, that's one of the three. And it's because my whole, like, this is something that I found with taking stuff from YouTube to like re-record for, or other way, TikTok to YouTube, is that a lot of my ideas have changed in the meantime or like evolved, right? And so I was like going back to the stuff that I had done on the Faith of the Seven and the Church of Story Wisdom, and then like I followed the trail of the Andals from like the coast to when they actually got to the Andals, and like I have whole theories about when it transitioned from being like their sort of like indigenous belief to this like faith of the seven, and yeah, oh yeah, that's one of my favorite topics.
Oh yeah, did y'all know Phil has pod of the Seven Kingdoms? He's got they're doing a reread of the Hedge Knight right now on YouTube.
Yeah, I fear Phil. I have given up. I am going to expect her to read it after the show.
I'm just saying, do you see my rationale here?
Okay, but it's
We're
like
very
the best
disappointed in
thing
you.
George has ever written, and you're like, no, I can't.
There's no dragons and there's no Danny.
It's so good.
What's that
it's
got
so
to do with
good.
me?
It's so good for different reasons. It's
We
so
know what's
good.
best for you,
And you can read all three in one day.
young lady.
Young lady. Or else.
Go to your room.
Okay.
I'm in it.
Like, yes, I want to share a cameo so bad too. Like, I really want her to either show up in the next series of Duncan Egg novellas, give her to me in Fire and Blood Volume 2. I need something. I would really prefer her to show up in Duncan Egg, like in the new novellas. I need her somewhere. Please. Or Winds. George, Winds would be great too. Like, Winds would be great too.
Do you think the Amethyst Empress and the Bloodstone Emperor were Valyrian or some other race? I think that where I go with that is that the Amethyst Empress, her line became Valyria, which, you know, became Daenerys's line. So Dana's the dreamer down that way. And I think that the house that's in the main series that comes from the Bloodstone Emperor's line is the Danes. And that's why Valyrians and the Danes have these shared physical features, but no known shared like ancestry. And then I think, you know, I also, a really interesting theory that I came across, I think on Reddit, was about the Pearl Emperor, the Grey King coming off of the Pearl Emperor, so the Grey King of like the Iron Isles kind of thing, that whole lore and history. And so I really like this idea that there are offshoots in the main series, families, people, lineages that we know that came and branched off of various generations of the Gemstone Emperors. I'm also wholly convinced that the God King on Earth was a dragon, and that with each generation of the gods, they became more humanoid. Like, I'm 100% sold on this theory, and that's why, you know, Valyrian women, women of the Amethyst Empress's line, have these hybrid babies, is because it's
I
like
love that.
it's an offshoot of that. And then you have the Syrian, who's going to be Dany's legacy, and it all comes full circle with the Ivory Empress, who is a dragon once again.
I really think it's interesting that we have the original Amethyst Empress. Like, she essentially brings in the Valyrian line. Like, all of the people in Valyria stem from her. And then with Rhaenyra, who's the second coming that we know of as the Amethyst Empress, she's given birth to all that we know of the Targaryens and even the Baratheons. And then we have Daenerys, who will bring in her own golden age of dragons. So there will be a rebirth and repopulation of dragons. So it seems like each Amethyst Empress is bringing in a whole population of something.
Of dragons. Well, I mean, it's dragons because there's the correlation too with, I mean, obviously Rhaenyra had the Visenya, but like the boom of dragon reproduction that happened in association with her and with Rhaena before her. Yeah, I mean, and I want to shout out Lana. I can't think of her specific handle, but that is who introduced me to this idea, and it was the first time that I had ever heard it, of the original Gemstone Emperors, the God King on Earth, the son of the Maiden Maid of Light and the Lion of the Night was a fucking dragon. right? And the reason why, and it tracks, like the reason why, and that's why he lived so long, and the reason why the lifespans got shorter of the emperors and why their reigns became more tumultuous is because they became more human, more corrupt, right? I fucking love this idea. I'm so sold on it. Ugh. And it's something that I like go in deep. It's one of the other fucking videos I've been working on for YouTube. It all has to do with, Viserion as legacy and stuff. Which actually, okay, so when you did your crown series and we were talking about Dany's crown and how, right, Drogon is made out of onyx and there's an onyx emperor. Rhaegal is made out of jade. There was a jade emperor. But then Viserion is made out of ivory, and we're like, it should have been pearl, right? Because there's been a pearl emperor, but there's never been an ivory one. I am convinced it's because Viserion is going to be the first ivory empress. I used to say pearl, but I'm like, no, she's the first, right? She's the ivory empress.
I actually kind of like that. Either that or George just made a whoopsie and now he's like, oh, I'm watching this live now. I'm going to take this note. I did this on purpose.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, I want to have a conversation with George because I'm like, look, if nothing else, I feel like maybe I could give you some cool ideas. If the things that I think aren't already true, take a note.
Okay. This is how I picture it happening.
Operation Get to George.
Matt is talking to George about this really cool locket that somebody gave him at a convention. And then he's like, well, she also gave me this card and said, here's the artist. And George is like, like, this is a really cool locket. Like, maybe I should get in touch with the artist. And this is how it happens.
Bro, okay, not to toot my own horn, but I do really feel like George would think my lockets were cool. I think he'd be like, that's cool shit. Like,
I know
that's
Matt
my world,
was,
and you're making wearable fucking jewelry out of it. That's not like Game of Thrones, right? Like all of the like A Song of Ice and Fire merch is like merch. You know what I'm saying?
I really like, you could really tell the differences in their personalities because like the way Fabian was like turning it over and he was like, wow, like this is really cool. But like he was really into it. And Matt's like, oh my God, I love this.
More animated. Yeah, that tracks. That's what I would have expected from. Ooh, Ashley, that's a good question. Do you think ice dragons reproduce differently than Valyrian dragons? Like, do they lay eggs? I bet not. Like how they die and they turn into a puddle.
I don't think that that's how it works for them. I think that they're just born of the ice. I don't think that they lay eggs. I don't think there's anything like that for them.
Like they just appear. Like
that's at
They're
least
like Frosty the Snowman.
That is how it comes about in the Ice Dragon. And they are completely separate in the books from Valyrian dragons that are like the dragons that, like the Kingsmen ride these dragons. And I believe very strongly that Adara's world is Westeros, but it's Westeros before it was ever called Westeros. So long before like the Andals, the First Men, like this is well before any of those things. But I do think that it is just as it said in the Ice Dragon that they come when they're needed and specifically needed by those who possess those magical properties. So someone like Jon, for example, who possesses northern magic and has a striking resemblance to this cold pool in the Godswood of Winterfell, like, I feel like we're getting some clues here. If we were ever going to get an ice dragon in the series, it's going to be coming from Jon. Either that or he's just the human personification. But damn it, George, it'd be so freaking cool if we had the real thing. Like, I would not be mad if we had an ice dragon. I would not be mad.
An ice dragon egg would be so cool though, Juan. Like thinking about like the design of it, like it looks like a quartz crystal, the way it shines, and like that could. Hello, artists of the community.
Yeah, like Adara talks about how much she loves in the book. She talks about how much she loves winter and how it's her favorite time of year because, everything's freezing, everything's like going to ice. And then when the winter comes, so does the ice dragon. And then it rises from the pool, this cold black pool, people, that's cold all the time. What other pool in the books, in the main series, is like this. Oh, there's only one, and it's in Winterfell. There's only one, and Jon has been compared to it.
He has. Hallowed Harpy, is your Viserion as legacy theory the reason you started making content? No. It developed as I was making content, which is like honestly for the people who have like been around with me since the beginning, I think that's the funnest part of the whole legacy opposition Lightbringer is that you guys were there with me while I like made these connections in real time, like over the last 2 years. It's been really fun.
Exactly. You have to put a hat on it. You have to put a hat on the black pool, and then the ice dragon comes to life like Frosty.
I was like, what? Okay. Okay, hold on. Matt is a very animated person. I'm just green with jealous rage. Jealous rage about what?
Honestly,
About
Juan, I
meeting
would
that.
I would rather it be Jon and the Ice Dragon versus Fagon and Rhaegal, because that way Dany doesn't have to be the one to do it. But like George isn't gonna let me have that because he likes hurting me. So I would much rather it not have anything to do with Dany and Drogon. Like, let it be Jon.
Yeah, no shit.
Leave Dany alone. Like,
oh my gosh, that's cool. I met George R. Years ago in his theater in Santa Fe. I was there for a magic show and he just appeared like Varys. I love that. Just like I'm imagining like little slippers.
He came out of the wall.
Like, hello. Quentin Tarantino did that once. I went and saw what was it? Hateful Eight? And it was on like 35 millimeter in Portland, and there was like a real intermission, and my best friend and I went to get like popcorn or whatever, and I look up and I turned to her and I'm like, that guy looks like Quentin Tarantino, and she's like, that is fucking Quentin Tarantino. And it was just, he walked in so casually and he was just a guy, and it's just like such a weird thing when celebrities are just people. You're like, whoa.
No, he wasn't like that one video where he's like, "What's going on here? What's going on here?
No.
What's going on here?"
No. He was just some dude that I thought looked like Quentin Tarantino, but was in fact Quentin Tarantino.
Varys on a dragon. Imagine the chaos. I can actually see. Like,
Varys
I mean,
wouldn't be on a dragon.
Yeah, that would be a what power Varys would never trifle with. I don't think.
No, Varys would definitely never do it, but he could. He could if he wanted to, because if he's definitely a Blackfire. Like,
he's also a mermaid, so I want to know about how that works. Mermaid in the air on a dragon.
But I think he's also like, isn't he like anti? Well, I don't know. Or dragon? Like, does he see dragons as magic?
He would never.
Right?
He would
You
never
have to see dragons as magic. Come on.
He would never. He would never get on a dragon.
Especially the return of dragons after a century, and then finding out they were like born in the past, because he's gonna know. He's gonna know stuff about like how they were born, right? Because he's fucking Varys. He knows everything. And so I think he'd be wigged out by it because they were born of magic. Blood magic.
Yeah, I mean, there you go, Juan. Like, I feel like Varys as a mermaid on a sea dragon, I like it.
Yeah, I do agree. I think Varys would hiss like a cat at a dragon if it came near him.
Oh my god.
I agree. I actually agree. A sea dragon, don't even get me started. Water magic is so underappreciated and explored even in universe, god damn it. It's like so you got fire and ice, right? And we know a relative amount of each, but water, what do we don't know shit except there's a turtle, the great man of the river. What's he doing?
Okay, but was Maynard Plum a fraud, or was he just like, I mean, I feel like we kind of can figure out who Maynard Plum is pretty early on.
Exactly, he's a fraud. No, the water magic. That's what created the sorrows. The legend. What's the guy's name? The Roynish. Was he a king or was he? I forgot his name. They make a play. There's a play about him in the world. But anyways, he got imprisoned by the Valyrians after they got defeated, and then they took him back to Croyane. And then he did the water magic thing and flooded them out.
Flooded them, yeah.
And then made grayscale. Gave us that gem.
I forgot that was where grayscale came from.
But yeah, so that's really the biggest water magic thing that I remember from the series, and that's in World of Ice and Fire. You know, that's not even.
Yeah.
Main
It's
series.
sort of it's meant. I mean, the history of where like Nymeria came from is mentioned in the books, but not really those kinds of details. Or I think what's it called? The I think one of the playhouses is putting on a play about that guy. That's actually written by for a I forget his first name, but it's his last name is Pharrell. So it's like maybe a relative of Serial.
Oh shit.
Which would make sense because he's a water dancer, right?
Yeah.
And there's a whole thing about like, you know, them being anti-Valyrian and anti-slave
Oh, I read this really
labor.
good like meta on Tumblr yesterday that was about like
Garen, that's his name.
Garen. That was about it was like unpacking like Bravosi culture in relation to Valyria because that doesn't get talked about a lot and like how it was it I won't go into the details of it. It was long. It was like a meta, but it just made me think that like that's not something I hear discussed very often. That like the relationship between Bravos and Valyria, and it was doing it in the context of like assuming that the lemon tree was in Bravos, and that the Sea Lord had Daenerys and Viserys in their menagerie, basically, which they were putting it in the context of like, so you had these children, the last living Targaryens, in a zoo, basically. That's what they've been reduced to, these children,
Yeah.
and how that is such an opposition to what Bravos was founded on, you know, which is like anti-slavery, anti-exploitation, et cetera, right? And so it was like, it was a really cool meta, and it was just something that I had never seen talked about before. Tumblr, man. Some of it's
I
shit, but a
mean,
lot of it's gold.
I think we should have a lot of series like that are based on the world of Ice and Fire because I think there's a lot of good stuff in there.
Speaking of which, there was that was well, I sent y'all the article. One of the oh, I forgot what she's somebody from HBO uh answered some questions about the upcoming stuff for the shows, and they teased a upcoming Targaryen show. And it's like, what could that possibly be? But you know, what what do we think it is?
I like
Obviously, it's Aegon's conquest.
Right? That's the thing that they've already talked about that they started writing.
I'm with Tampa Bay Rum. Instead of adaptations, we need original stories of made up minor characters and their adventures. Like I think that's a better way to expand the world than to try and do these adaptations that seem to universally fucking not work out.
I don't know. Like, I feel.
But I mean, maybe Duncan Egg is gonna, change that
They need
narrative
to
about.
stop that was the thing that was the most disappointing thing for me in the article that I saw was I clipped that out for y'all was them saying like the Duncan Egg show is going to be the exception and that everything else we're developing is basically really big budget. And I'm like, no, like that's not how you get this series to keep going because it's like you're gonna keep making them too expensive, and if one flops, that's it.
Yeah.
It's like you gotta make some cheaper shows and concentrate on drama.
A good chance. They have such a good chance with Dunkin' Egg if they stick to the canon content and add like just a little bit of fluff into it, just to kind of like lengthen the episodes. It's perfect, but they've got to keep a lot of the dialogue the same because it's perfect. The way George wrote it is insanely good. I cannot say enough good things about this series. And if they change it, then they're going to mess it up and it's going to flop. But Aegon's Conquest, as much as I love Visenya and would love to see her, I'm not into it. I don't really want it. Like, I mean, obviously dragons would be awesome, but I don't know why my brain keeps pushing back against it. I just don't want it. And I also feel like they're going to do the thing with Visenya and Rhaenys where they're going to pit them against each other and it's gross. And I don't want it.
Not to bring up fan art again, but man, do I love the fan art out there of Visenya and Rhaenys as like loving, tender sisters. Because I like the idea that fucking Aegon was their beard.
I
That
really
neither of
think
them even
so.
really like.
I think that Oris was taking Aegon to Pound Town every single night, and he didn't need an extra hand for that. Like he could do that with just one.
Yeah, and I think that they needed to marry Aegon for legitimacy. But I like
Oh
that
well,
they're both
y'all are
loving.
just woke misandrous. Y'all
Yes.
just want to take everything away from
I just
the
want to
man
make
in
it
the story,
gay. I want to
Aegon.
make it
Okay,
gay.
what was it? What was that thing about me in the Reddit thing that that hallowed harpy?
You're ruining this fandom.
No, it was that harpy lady has done
Irrevocable
You've
damage.
done
irreparable
irreparable
damage
damage to this fandom.
God damn it! I've made it. I've made it.
Just like apparently I'm gleeful about the death of a child in with Stannis burning Shireen. And
Why
I'm
are you
just
so
like,
happy?
no, I'm happy. I'm happy because you bitches are wrong.
I'm happy
happy
because
because
I'm
you're
voting,
wrong.
dumbass, that I'm right and you were wrong.
I'm happy that I told you, and I told you. But there's no evidence. George never said that. Yes, he freaking did. Right there, black and white, read them and weep. Oh, but he could change his mind. He's not going to. He said that these were concrete things that he told them. These were specific things that he was always going to have in his books. He's been writing Stannis to do this from the moment we meet Stannis' character in Clash. At the very beginning, he's been setting him up to do this. If you have not read that, I'm sorry for you. I'm sorry for you. Like, you missed it. But no, I'm not gleefully jumping up and down for the death of a child. It's just, I understand the way this character is written, and I know that this is what he is going to do. And I'm also not saying that he's not a well-written character. I enjoy reading Davos's chapters. I enjoy reading Stannis. But I know what kind of person and character Stannis is being set up to be, and it's not a good one. He's a shitty person. He's a bad person. He's let his honor warp his mindset so much that he's literally doing all of the wrong things for the sake of duty. And it's destroying him.
Do you have any minor character you're obsessed with? Mine is Prince Maegor. That was Swan. I am, and I guess yeah, she's minor. She's totally minor. Rhaella Targaryen is. I'm obsessed with her, and no one thinks about her or talks about her except for fucking Jaime.
Oh, poor Jay. Yes, I will talk all the crap about Stannis that I possibly can.
So wait, back to ships. What about Jaime and Rhaella?
Rhaella is another one of those just really traumatized women that I want men to leave alone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Just leave her alone. Just leave her with her children and leave her alone.
If I had to ship Rhaella and Jaime, this is how I would do it. Jaime rescuing them before.
Okay, I could do a knight in shining armor trope with Jaime and Rhaella. Fine,
but like not
my arm.
in a way, but not in a way that it is like
He's
intimate.
literally wearing white armor.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm not saying physically intimate. I'm not saying like romantic together. I'm saying that
Maybe like
if he was going to come in, if it was going to be some kind of ship, it would be that. It would be a platonic, like close relationship between the two of them.
Yeah, free most Targaryen women from men, in all honesty. Same with Sansa. Like, people were asking about a Sansa ship earlier, and pretty much all the girls, except for, like, the ones who, you know, are a little more, like, sexually empowered. Like, Asha is really easy to ship with people, because she's very in control of her sexuality. I don't feel like I have to worry about her with men. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she's... And I say that, but then I'm like, who do I ship her with? And I'm like, she's too cool for everyone. I ship her with me.
Yes.
Me.
A minor character. So I thought of one. I was trying to think of this whole time. A minor character that I'm obsessed with. One that I can think of that's even remotely close to being obsessed with, I guess, is Byron Swan.
Go on.
But he's the guy that gets roasted by whichever dragon. He tries to do the mirror shield.
Oh, and there's debate about if it was Vagar or Cyrax.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he tries to do the mirror shield thing and it doesn't work. I just love a guy who commits to the bit and roasts for it.
Arya and Ned Dane. I think, okay. I think that would be a good political match. More than like I see them, because we just know so little about Ned.
Davos's
More age
wife.
appropriate.
Yes, Davos's wife does need more appreciation because he certainly appreciates her.
He does.
He loves that woman so much.
He thinks of his own sweet wife and how he's not made of the stuff of heroes because he couldn't kill her. He couldn't drive a sword through her heart because she's the best woman in the world. He says that. The best woman in the world. Well, he thinks it.
Yeah.
He says, honestly, I will hear no slander against our Onion Lord.
I mean, is there any other than, like, he's too loyal? Like, that is my criticism of him, is, like, he's so fucking loyal to Stannis, and he knows in his heart of hearts.
He's just a guy.
He said it several times. Davos has said several times he's got a ton of criticism for Stannis. And by the end, before he leaves to go, like, try to do more shit for Stannis, he thinks to himself, like, after that last conversation with him, is he really doing this for honor, or is it more because he wants it? Like, he's already at that point where he's like, what is this really for? Like, what are we doing this for? So that's why I think when Wyman sends him off to go find the wild Thornberry's kid.
Yeah, and like thinking about it from her perspective, Davos's wife, she lost 4 sons in one night. Her husband is presumed dead. Like, the other one's off in the north. Like, as far as she knows, basically her whole family is lost to her. And meanwhile, Davos is like thinking about how she's the best woman in the world. Shut up. Oh, that's true. Extremely unappreciated in fandom, Elena Targaryen, who survived grooming to become Master of Coin. And I love her because there's something going on with the color scheme and, like, Viserion. You know? Obviously that appeals to me. She had that egg, she had that streak. That's the same one, right? In the Maiden Vault?
Yes.
Yeah. I love that whole, I like the women in the Maiden Vault, and then I also love the Black Brides. I'm just, like, really into that. I really want to do a Black.
Well, my main bitch is always going to be Dana. Like,
for real though.
No, that's what I was going to say about Davos, is that his it's sunk cost fallacy, but you just want to scream at him. Come on, man. He's literally just a guy. Hit him.
But I really do think, though, that
hit him with your car.
Davos, before he goes off to
he's doing too much for Stannis, is what I'm saying.
Gotten to the point, he really has gotten to the point where he is seeing that this is a problem, that Stannis doesn't want the throne just because of duty. I think it has crossed over, and yes, it's still duty, but it's also becoming desire. Like, it's warping itself into duty and desire.
Well, and there's like that, there's all these layers of, like, the insecurity that he has had with his brothers, right? That you cannot tell me that psychology is not at play in him wanting, he's like, it's mine now. It's mine now. And I never got my fair fucking shake out of all of my brothers, right? And people don't love me. They don't like me. You cannot tell me that then doesn't translate into part of this, like rigid, just clinging to what he thinks his duty is. Like,
I mean, it definitely is, especially after what happened with Renly, like him struggling with it, going back and forth, kind of talking to himself. And Davos is just sitting there like,
the peach, Renly's peach.
Like, but it's also Stannis grappling with, I mean, yes, he would do it again if he had the opportunity, but he also feels guilt. Like, it's him going back and forth with himself of, yes, I needed to do it, but also he was my brother, but also what the hell was with the peach?
Man's going through a lot.
I feel like with Stannis, it's so complicated because I don't think that even Stannis knows at this point if it's about duty or if it's about desire or both or neither. I think he's just like, at this point, Stannis is on the struggle bus.
You know who's truly overhated? Jorah. Oh, okay. Jorah in the books, I'm assuming you're talking about, because I feel like Jorah in the show people love, right? That's like kind
Yeah,
of
people love Jorah on the show.
Please, can we hate on Jorah some more in the books, because I don't feel like he gets enough.
Yeah, I want to hear why you think that is.
Yeah, because he's such a, like, at every opportunity, he's such an asshole.
And he's trying so
Like, and
hard.
that's me being nice. That's me being nice when I just want to talk about, like, everything he does. Because it's like, even when he needs to, like, just apologize, he can't do it.
Can't do it.
No.
That whole conversation when Dany sends him away and he tells her, you have to. Like, who do you think you are talking to? Like, and you know that. And he knew if he had stopped for even 2 seconds, he put her in a position where even if she didn't want to, which on some level she didn't, she had no choice but to send him away after that. Like, he questioned her like that. And just, I mean, the whole, yeah. My favorite exchange between Dany and Jorah is when she comes back from meeting with Krasny's the first time. And she slaps him because she's like, how fucking dare you have brought me here? Like, how could you? You are supposed to be my knight, and you brought me here where they kill babies and eat dogs and, like dogs that they had to raise. And just, and the one thing I will say about Jorah is Jorah gave her good advice. And that's what's so frustrating about him being such a fucking creep, is that he's valuable as an advisor, and he took advantage of being so valuable to her and being all that she had. And like, I know, I don't know. Oh, there's Sharon.
Yeah, that's my problem. At the end of the day, he gives me the ick just because every single bit of advice that he ever gives, everything that he ever says, you have to question, because is it really just because it's good advice, or is it for himself?
No, it's double loaded. That's why I'm saying it's always loaded. But what's frustrating about it, the most frustrating thing about reading it is, I mean, 7 times out of 10, I agree with the advice he's giving her.
Yeah.
Because he did tell her to go to Asport. I don't love that. But if he hadn't done that, her liberation arc never would have started, right? So it had to happen. It was inevitable. Someone had to be the piece of shit that brought her there. And
well, it's also
you're looking at it in terms of just like wanting to be successful in the war and the options that were available to them, knowing Jorah is comfortable with slavery, like it all makes sense that he would recommend that.
And it's also him just like isolating her from anyone who can potentially be in her life as valuable. And while, yes, she does have to have trust issues with people, because you should mistrust people. However, like,
it's hard though when the people that he's warning her against, he's right about. He's right about Dario. He's right about Illyrio. He's right about fucking Pizdar. He's right about all of them. The only one that he's wrong about is Barristan, and his opinions about Barristan are just projections of his own fucking insecurities that Barristan is who Jorah will never be, right? They're foils.
But really quick, why is he right about Dario? Who is Dario?
Shelby. Here we go. No, okay, but it's 8:30, and I was only going to be on for an hour. So I've already gone 30 minutes over what I said. So I can't, I'm not saying you should stop. You should keep going. But
I think I'm falling asleep.
Time to get into Dario.
I think I'm falling asleep, and I know that Eric is definitely falling asleep. But while we're on the subject, Dario is Euron is Dario, and that's why she shouldn't trust him.
So jot that down.
In case I haven't told you people yet, in case anybody in the chat hasn't heard me say it.
Yeah, Juan, exactly. Him comparing Dany to Lyness, like, man, write it in your journal.
Yeah, those are
that's for your therapist.
Bro,
Stop, man.
I love how even Dany, a child, a like fucking 14-year-old child, after he leaves is like, oh. oh. Oh
And
shit.
it's so funny because you can look at the similarities between Dany and Sansa even, because Sansa thinking that Beric Dondarrion, like, even though he's only 22, she's like, ew, he's
Ew.
old.
He's
He's
old.
old. And
I
then
love.
Dany is literally thinking the same thing about Jorah, like, ew, he's old.
I
Like,
mean,
I'm sorry, people who
he's a
hate
lot older
Sansa,
though.
people who hate Sansa, I'm like, just admit that you like hate little girls. Like,
Yeah.
Sansa is just such a little girl. Like,
That is
Like,
just
yeah,
it's
she looks at a 22-year-old attractive man, but like at
and
that,
is
because
like, ew.
Beric back then was hot. Like he was a fox. And she was like, ew, he's old. He's so
I mean,
old.
does it make it more interesting that he's drawn to Dany, or just more perverse that he's drawn to Dany? Like, uh,
I think it's perverted. It's
I mean,
disgusting.
okay,
Like,
if what we're
well,
saying is
this
like,
is one of those. This is once again, this is like the Stannis discussion all over again because we're making moral and like we're making we're making judgments on the characters as people. This is divorced from whether or not they're like
a good character,
a good character, a
a
well-written
valuable
character, or
character.
somebody we want to read, like, or something that's good for the story. Like that's we're talking about Jorah the person right now, you know,
Not
because
Jorah the
we're trying
character.
to have fun.
If we're talking about Jorah as a character, I think he's vital to Dany's story. He plays a very important role and teaches her important lessons and all those kinds of things. Like, I think he's a well written character, but I think he's a sleazeball.
oh my
Exact
gosh, I
being
think
the
that this is
sleazeball, like
okay.
being the guy that like is refusing
Especially
to
like
apologize, like that.
you
So
gotta get.
this seems to be a common misconception. Like, we are not saying that we hate Jorah, like that we don't want his character. That's not true. Yes, you can dislike Jorah and still appreciate the character. Just like I don't like Stannis, I hate Stannis, but I appreciate that the character exists. I think he's valuable to the
Yeah,
story. I
very
think
well written.
people hear me hate on Stannis and they're like, "Oh, she doesn't want Stannis in the story." Like, you're not hearing what I'm telling you. I do think Stannis is a very well written character. I think that he adds value to the story. It doesn't mean I have to like him as a person. I think he's a bad person.
Yeah, okay, really for me, a perfect example, I, as a character, to exist, to show the spectrum of dark and light in humans, Ramsay Bolton is a very important character to me. He's
Yes.
evil, he's awful, but as a character, he's incredibly interesting and terrifying. And, you know, Euron is interesting and terrifying, but you hate him as a person. He's, you know, sexually abusing his little brothers, all these crazy things. Like, but they're great characters.
Yeah, like you can appreciate a character and what they add to the story and the element that they bring to the story while still saying, hey, this is not a good person. Somebody who was literally prepared to burn his nephew alive is not a good person.
Lord
Not a good
Venus,
person.
you should go watch Ashley's most recent videos. She'll let you know all the reasons why Stannis doesn't track as a good
I
guy.
really think it comes down to this. Stannis was all, oh, I'm not going to burn people. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that until Robb died. And then he was like, oh, okay. And then he looks at Davos and said, what is the life of one bastard child against a kingdom? And then Davos in that moment clocks it and says, you know what? I need to get this kid the hell out of here because this is it. Like,
Oh,
this man is going to burn him.
earlier someone had asked, I think maybe it was Fawn, if we thought there would be a grayscale outbreak in the main series, and if so, would it come from Shireen or would it come from John Con? And honestly, I feel like it could go either way or both.
Either way or both.
I really think
There's
that there
gotta
could be
be
something
I,
to Shireen being burned and that activating something. I also think
there's
that
gotta be some kind
Patrick-
of
you know, you know what I think? I think that Shireen was an option, and I think John Con makes more sense now because what I'm thinking is that it would be very convenient if like there's a grayscale outbreak in a city that's about to get burned down.
that's true. And I mean, it tracks with like the trajectory. Hers is not active, his is, first of all. And
Yes. So I'm like, maybe that was a seed that like George planted, because he like this was something in the early draft of Game of Thrones. Ned didn't want to go down to King's Landing because there was an outbreak of some kind. It wasn't grayscale, but it's like he's
it's
had this
setting up.
idea of a disease outbreak
Well, and like what we're
being
seeing in
part of the
Marine.
plot.
What we're seeing in Marine with the Pale Mare. Like, sickness is like a
exactly.
theme, right? Like this, and Stannis's camp is dealing with sickness. Like, it's because that is a thing that like was a really big fucking deal when you have these huge armies, these huge groups of people moving around and stuff. And also in large cities, obviously. So yeah, I agree. I think that it could go either way. I prefer John Con. I would like for the ramifications of burning Shireen to be different, and
I think
Yeah.
that
I'm really
I think
optimistic that it will.
Shireen was like a
I think
little
that
bit of a
Patchface losing it and becoming like a stone beast or something horrible,
Or like an eldritch terror from the deep. He like goes full on like, I am actually the drowned god.
Yeah.
Fucking kills
I
everybody.
literally, I need something to happen with Patchface because I feel like he, as far as like Shireen goes, that is the only person who's keeping him grounded and from going full ham on everybody.
before.
Yeah, I
We
definitely-
find out just what his true form is. You know,
That's what I'm saying. He's gonna like
There's something,
shapeshift.
okay, I feel like there's something to the riddles and the
Patchface
things-
equals Euron equals Dario.
no, Patchface is
I love
actually
this. I love it.
Patchface is actually a discarded like time traveling Bran. Like he slipped out and wound up washing ashore at that moment.
No, he's actually Aeron Greyjoy.
There you go.
Ooh, see, I feel like we're getting too many secret reveals.
Patchface riding a Leviathan. Hell
But
yes.
also,
Give it to me. I love it. Do you think Cersei's tears drowning her has anything to do with the sea or Euron? No, I think that has more. Honestly, when I think of that, I think of her drinking. Like when her tears and her drinking and her alcoholism is drowning her.
I love the idea of Jaime strangling her, but also like drowning her in wine.
Oh, or Tears of Lys. That would be interesting. I don't hate that. Okay, I really gotta hop off. Howland Reed just sitting in a swamp. Seriously, what a fucking menace. There's so much that he could tell us, and he's just like,
Nah.
No, that's
I'm
a
gonna
real.
sit in my
That's
floating,
honestly
disappearing, reappearing swamp.
I
Which,
think
like, nobody
it is
talks
a little
about
bit of
that. How come we don't talk about that more? The fucking swamps that the Reeds live in that like move.
Yeah, Howland's moving castle.
Yeah, basically. I want to live there.
Yeah.
All right, y'all.
Oh, I need to live
I
there.
think
I
this is
need
the
to live
time
this
when we're
long.
going to sign off, right? Because we went on
Yeah.
We
a
did.
little long. So,
I am exhausted.
but
Thanks for doing it late, guys, for you guys, so that I could do it earlier.
look, I like doing it late. I just need to, be able to take a power nap, have a quick cup of coffee, which I did. But anyways, TikTok is back in the App Store, but that does not mean anything is, here. So if y'all want to keep in contact with us, make sure to follow us on all of the platforms. We're on YouTube. We post on Spotify. We're trying to get Substack up and running, but we'll figure that out. And then Instagram, but I don't really want to talk about that.
Nobody
But
wants
YouTube is where we'll be posting stuff, and then
And Spotify for when you're at the gym and you want to listen to us talking in your head.
and Chelsea was saying, she's working on stuff specifically for YouTube as well. So,
And it's like, it's good stuff, guys. It's some of my best stuff, and that's why it's taken so long, why it's so hard for me.
and it'll be the same for the witches page as well. We're gonna have stuff that'll be over there only, not just the full episodes, but like other videos as well.
Yep. All right, guys. It was
All
fun.
right. Bye.
Good night,
Thanks
y'all.
for joining us.
Bye bye.